Alright, let me do another complicated pose for you. This one with the figure standing and leaning back in space. So in this case we have the ribcage overlapping the head. What else? The hips tilting forward ever so slightly. A lot of complicated stuff. But from the back we have a really good assist in the fact that we can clearly see the spine, which is a great indicator of what the ribcage and the hips are doing. So I'm going to start off by drawing the head. I can see the tilt of the oval is going this way slightly, like that. I can see a little bit of the neck. It looks like it's tilted this way, like this. And then I'm going to look for the angle of the spine to help me indicate the tilt and rotation of the ribcage. Now, I can see that our ribcage is overlapping our head ever so slightly, and it's going back in space and becoming slightly compressed. So not quite so egg-shaped, maybe a little bit more spherical. Let's use the spine to indicate the tilt and rotation. So it's going down this way, and then it looks like it's going straight down like this. And then the hips are probably a little bit closer to the rib cage because of that compression, that lean forward. Okay, so our hips are facing directly towards me, and then I can see that the hips are shifted this way, right? So we've got some really clear indicators. We have the spine, we have the gluteal fold. Whatever the gluteal fold is doing, our hips are doing as well. And then the tilt is going to be perpendicular to the gluteal fold. Okay, so now that we know where the legs start, we can start aiming them in the right direction. It's going in this way. This leg is going back in space, so it's going to compress a little bit. Look, in this case, I can almost see the entire head size. I can use it to measure it. There are going to be certain situations where I cannot see the head entirely. Let's deal with that later. So it looks like it's a little bit less, or a little bit more than one head to here, and then this leg is more or less straight up and down. It's going this way. Look, we have a standing figure, so let's check the center of gravity. Let's line up our pencil with the heel and see where it lines up. So it looks like it actually lines up with the shoulder. That's good to know for later. Let's indicate the shoulder. Well, might as well do that now. Okay, now let's get the other leg. It's going this way. There's some compression here. Again, I can see enough of the head that I can actually measure it. So it looks like it's also approximately one head's distance from here. We can check the alignment, the angle between the knees. Again, the whole purpose of this is to be able to catch mistakes as early as possible before they become really painful. Okay, so our heel is being slightly obscured here and going down this way. We have a wedge shape. It's going back in space like this. So it looks like her foot is ever so slightly over, so let me figure out exactly what's going on. Probably this needs to go in a little bit more, this needs to move in a little bit. Again, I'm trying to catch my mistakes as early as possible. Now, normally I wouldn't have to erase because I would be working light enough so that really these overlaps wouldn't matter. In this case I'm working kind of dark, and I don't want the lines to build up too much and start getting really confusing. Okay, so this shoulder is tilted all the way down here, like this. And then we see just a little bit of the upper arm here. Okay, so let's take a look at the pose. Stand back from your drawing. Imagine I'm standing back. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see where this goes. We forgot this arm. I know why I was avoiding it, because it's actually pretty complicated. We have a shoulder here, it's going up ever so slightly, there's a lot of compression here, and then it's going up this way, like this, and then we have something that looks like this. Okay, now let's start building our simple volumes. Don't race through, take the time to actually draw these volumes. The more complex the pose, the more analysis you have to do in order to get these things right. This is not easy for anybody. Okay, It's not easy, even for somebody who's been doing this quite a long time, like me. In fact, the longer you do this, the more complicated it gets. Your judgment increases, and your standards increase. You become much more critical of yourself as you get better. So really, this is just as complicated as it was when I first started. But look, that's what keeps it eternally interesting, right? The fact that it never ceases to be a challenge. Okay, so we've got joints that are going back in space ever so slightly. Again, make sure you indicate these ellipses going back in space. That's going to help you understand what's actually happening. So a big part of this is breaking through the confusion by doing this kind of simple geometric analysis. Alright, so let's tackle this guy here. This rib cage actually looks like it needs to go out a little bit. And then we have the shoulder. This is coming forward. We have a tremendous amount of foreshortening here. We have a cylinder that is almost coming directly towards us. And a cone that is coming towards us, but perhaps by not quite so much. Okay, the hand is a block shape. Again, we're going to discuss hands really soon. Okay, so one thing I noticed is that I missed the location of the head. In fact, her head is over here. Quite often, you're not going to be able to see exactly whether you've got the pose right until everything is absolutely there. I'm not thrown off though, because this is a very early place in which to catch this mistake. Okay, that actually looks like the pose right now. So, now that we have the pose, I can focus exclusively on getting all of the details right. Which is good because there are a lot of them. In fact, let me go to full screen on this image because I can't really see it all that well. There we go. Alright. It's going this way, then goes down like this. Goes this way. Here we have the gluteal fold. Everybody, do not race through this step. Practice this a lot, because if you don't get good at this, it's going to be really hard to draw complicated poses. And again, this process has a lot of advantages. Besides the fact that it allows you to break down all this complexity, learning how to do this allows you to draw out of your head. So if you guys are taking this figure drawing class to do graphic novels or animation, illustration, any calling that requires a lot of drawing from memory imagination, this process of breaking things down is the way you draw the form, the human form, from memory. We start off with our armature, our basic simple shapes. This process allows us to compose. So if we have, let's say, a multi-figure composition, I can start off with these really simple armatures, pose them the way I want. This is beneficial for lots of different applications. Once again, this is absolutely the most important skill. So we're going to keep working on this the entire class, because this is really the essence of figure drawing. Everything else is just fireworks. It's just decoration. This is the essence. And in a regular class, this is something that I'd be constantly reinforcing. When I'm walking around and talking to you guys one-on-one, I'll be constantly telling you, get your construction right, the form underneath is not correct, get the proportion right. Again, the most difficult, the most important aspect of figure drawing is learning to simplify what is very complex. Okay, I'm done.